I said I like the little things. The way a glass feels in your hand, a good glass, thick with a heavy base. I love the sound an ice cube makes when you drop it from just the right height. Too high and it'll chip when you drop it. Chip the ice and it'll melt too fast in the scotch.
You ever try this, Leo? It's Johnnie Walker Blue. Bartenders are selling it for $30 a shot.
Good scotch sits in a charcoal barrel for 12 years. Very good scotch gets smoked for 29 years. Johnnie Walker Blue is 60-year-old scotch.
Leo McGarry there, White House Chief of Staff of the Bartlett administration, giving an impassioned, if incredibly inaccurate, description of whiskey and what makes whiskey good. And it's also a good touching point on sort of public perception and, by extension, ignorance of whiskey that has allowed the Johnnie Walker brand to thrive. Hello there everyone, and welcome to John Drinks, and today we are wrapping up our long-legged journey of the Johnnie Walker coloured labels with the Blue Label. Probably one of the most famous luxury whiskies on the planet. Now you'll notice that I've not yet poured this, and there's not really much of a reason for that other than the fact that this is a no-age statement whiskey, which at the price that you can expect to pay for this whiskey is utterly mind-boggling. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to leave it in the glass for a few minutes. But you'll have heard Leo saying, well, this stuff's 60 years old. Johnnie Walker Blue, that's 60-year-old scotch. My God, that needs to be in there for years. Well, no. And there's a story as to sort of the mix-up there. You'll have heard him talking about, what makes a good 12-year-old and what makes a good 15-year-old, that it's smoked and all that kind of stuff. Everything that he says in that statement is at best inaccurate and at worst entirely wrong. But we'll focus on the Blue Label for now because I won't go on a massive great big rant. And I do want to quickly say as well, The West Wing is one of the best things that's ever been put on TV. I'm currently halfway through Series 6 and okay, it's past its best, but it's still good stuff. The Johnnie Walker Blue Label came onto the market a few years ago. I've not googled the exact dates, you can do that yourself. You're grown-ups and we're in the 21st century, you know how to operate a search engine by now. And it originally came on the market as Johnnie Walker Oldest, and it stated that it was a blend that included some 60-year-old whiskey. Now this was before the rules about what you can and can't say on a label came in. They stated that there was some 60-year-old whiskey in this, and people took it to mean that it is a 60-year-old whiskey by default, which is not how that works. Bizarrely, it is how that works with rum. Now, if you say that you've got a 23-year-old rum, it can mean that a small proportion of it is 23 years. Same with things like sherries and stuff, actually. So, whiskey in that respect, a little bit ahead of the curve, but in that respect as well, they kind of lean into the age statement idea a lot more heavily than the other categories do, so... But that's where the idea of this being a 60-year-old whiskey comes from. Most whiskey, after they get past 25, 30 years in some cases, the wood's given everything it can give to the whiskey. You've got to bear in mind, 30 years old, that's older than I am. Just at this point, but it's still older than I am. I feel like I've lived for, centuries at this point. We don't know what is in this anymore, because as we kind of proved a few weeks ago, the Johnnie Walker blends change all the time. You'll be able to watch a video here where I compare two different generations of Johnnie Walker Green Label, one before it was taken off the market in 2012 and one after it was brought back in 2016, and they are radically different liquids just with the same name. With this one, I've heard differing opinions. Few of them have been positive. I have tried the Blue Label before. I think most people have tried the Blue Label before, and it again is one of those things that leans on kind of gift, luxury, the silk dress of whiskies in that respect. One thing that they did mention in the West Wing Clue actually is how expensive this whiskey is to buy per nip. The bottle doesn't have a lot to say obviously with it being a miniature, but it does say that it's a blend of our rarest whiskies. Again, there's no indication of what whiskies actually go into it, and there's a little individual code for each bottle, which is a nonsense, but it's designed to make it more collectible, this being a mass market, mass produced product available all over the world that is at the same time somehow collectible. It's this perception of uniqueness that is complete and total bollocks. It's time we actually found out what the whiskey is like. It's taken me 3.5 years to get around to Johnnie Walker's What have I been doing all that time? Ooh. It's quite a floral nose, actually. I'm getting kind of like lilac and lilies kind of put together. Something a bit gardeny about it. There is still a bit of that ethanol signature, but nowhere near as bad as the 18-year-old. That was bordering on a practical joke. A little bit of like raisin and currant in there as well. Something quite sort of dried fruit in there. There's like a faint fruitcake note in there as well. It's quite faint, but it is there. Okay, well, I'm going to try this neat. Again, as with the blends, it's 40% coloured chill filtered, which, considering that this is the rarest stock that they've got and it's the most exclusive stuff they've got, they're not shy on processing it. So again, that's something to consider. Actually has some flavour. I kind of dig it, but it's a little sort of vague in many respects. Interesting. I'm getting a lot of like orange marmalade notes, quite bitter but citrusy. A little bit of like heavily, like slightly overbrewed black tea in there as well. It's got a bitterness to it and tannic quality in there. And it does open up to sort of like a bit of a sweet vanilla thing at the back, but the majority of it is these slightly more heavy, sort of robust flavours of sort of tea, citrus, bitterness. There's a little bit of like a sourness in there as well, kind of like a sort of like an underripe plum if you've ever had one. It's like it's not quite ready yet. You're a bit like, ooh, that needs to be in the bowl for another couple of days. And there's like a faint tobacco note in there as well. I've got to say, actually, I don't mind it. There is no way in hell it is worth £30 a nip, but I don't mind it. It's certainly not a bad flavour. I'm going to add just a drop of water, because I don't want to overdo it with this one. I don't feel it really needs it. We're going more kind of like red currants and sort of like pink lady apples, actually. Yeah, there's got quite a lot of like fruit components in there. You're going to think I'm a bit mad, but I'm getting something kind of like a navy rum kind of a quality, something quite like demerara, rich sugar. A little bit of instant coffee, and, like fake leather. It's got quite a distinctive fragrance to it. Not real leather, fake leather. But, let's see what it tastes like. Oh, it's mellowed it out quite a bit. It's more lemony now. It's a bit more like a... No, scratch that. Yuzu. Yeah, it's subtler than lemon. It's close to yuzu. Like a freshly toasted bit of rye bread. Faint bit of like, I'm going to say tablet. If you don't live in Scotland, you might not know what tablet is. It basically, imagine the love child of Blackpool rock and fudge. That's a very strange combination, I know, but it's sort of like caramel fudge, but with a crumblier, more buttery texture, and it's got quite a unique buttery flavour. Do you know, it is what it is, but it's a terrible flavour note for people that don't know what it is. But I highly recommend that you find a recipe online and try making it, because it's piss easy to do and it's rewarding. Bad for you, but rewarding. This has a good flavour. The alcohol burn that I found in the last few blends, it's still there, but it doesn't feel like it's intrusive. It feels like it's more balanced. It feels like a better product, which, to be fair, it should do at this point. I should not be going into this with any notion of, is this going to be good or not? Because, it's pivoting itself as sort of the master in its field, for want of a better way of putting it. It's pleasant. It's not knock your socks off amazing. It's just pleasant. It's unintrusive, it's not aggressive, but at the same time, a lot of the flavour compound is quite muted. It's quite beige as a whiskey. It's either gone past the point where the flavour is in there because it's been too heavily watered down, or the flavour compound's been skimmed out of it because it's been chill filtered. Chill filtration, all you're doing is skimming out a lot of the oils and other flavour compounds from the whiskey. So when you do that to a whiskey, you're removing a lot of the flavour in the first place. It's like if you made a donut. You made a jam donut, and then you shipped it off to a bakery, and then they extracted the jam back out of it, and then sold it on. That's sort of an allegory that I can give you to chill filtration. And they do it under the premise of it's so you don't get sticky fingers. It's a process that is supposedly for the consumer that is the most anti-consumer bullshit, and I really wish it wasn't a thing because it's just dumb. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Blue Label. Comment down below, what's your favourite episode of The West Wing? It's going to be Two Cathedrals, of course it is. That is stunning television right there. Also, give me your thoughts on the Johnnie Walker range. Have I been excessively mean on some of them? I don't feel like I have been, but maybe you've had different experiences. Maybe you have sort of a nostalgic thing. I should say which one is the best out of the range, shouldn't I? But I'm not going to, because we're not actually done with these yet. So we're going to have a little bit of a break on the Johnnie Walkers, but we will be coming back to them with a couple of sort of topic videos, so stay tuned for them. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you know when and where they're happening. Ring the bell as well if you want regular updates from me as to when I put something out. Sometimes I'll do it quite spontaneously, so you'd never quite know. I like to keep you on your toes. Schedules for wimps is just bollocks. And also, I can't keep a schedule. I've tried. It doesn't happen. Thumb the video if you enjoyed it, and there'll be links down below to my Patreon if you feel like you like the content I like enough to help fund it. There'll be details down below for how to do that and the perks that come with it. For now, though, thank you very much for watching, and join me next time where I'll be drinking something less expensive.